So the next thing that we're going to cover is this subject of uh, industrial and organizational psychology. So that's also a very important thing. Like work is a huge part of our life, isn't it? I mean, we spend a lot of time at work. You guys probably uh, have part-time jobs, maybe full-time jobs, and balancing that with being a student, and you're preparing for a career. You're preparing for a work career. So in the 1900s, there was a movement to the importance of psychology as it relates to how our behavior affects our job, and as well as how does our job affect our behavior. So that is basically what industrial and organizational psychology is. That is, how does human behavior and psychology affect work, and how does those things, or how are we affected by work psychologically? So those are huge things to study. A lot of companies do it. I think there's a study, as you opened up the chapter, it talked about how a lot of people are telecommunicating and working from home, less time on the jobs. They're at home, especially with COVID. That became a big thing, and it's hard to get people to go back into the workplace. And there's this belief that we're more productive when we work at home and we're left on our own, whereas there's also a belief that when we work as a team, when there's collaboration and there's partnership, we're more creative and we're more innovative in our career. So that's important to people who are trying to make money on us as employees. So our work is a huge part of who we are. I'm part of not only teaching at Nichols, but I also work in an inpatient facility working with in psychology every day. So those, I spend a huge amount of time doing this, as well as working with police officers as a counselor. So like we spend a lot of time. I probably spend more time doing that than doing anything else. It's a huge chunk of our life. So uh, very interesting subject. You're going to have a few questions on your test about industrial and about organizational psychology. So notice that that also is a big part of the military. So because of the entry into World War One, industrial psychologists began as well to work with the military, and how does being in the military affect our psychology, and vice versa. How does our psychology affect the military? And because that's a job in itself. And of course, psychology is a huge part of warfare as well. So uh, they've also crossed over, and we've got psychological warfare is something that was used majorly in the first Gulf War, for instance, and it's still being used today. One of the researchers in this field was Lillian Gilbreth. So know about her. She did some research on this topic, and when you think about why are workers, employees motivated? What motivates them? Number one is money, of course. Like the more money, the more we're going to be motivated to our job. There's nothing like a good raise to motivate us. But more important than that was just to be satisfied in what we're doing, like to feel like what we're doing makes a difference. We enjoy doing what we do. So job satisfaction and money are two big motivating factors, more than anything else. So know about that. There's a big uh, lot of study about how workers become burnout. I was reading, or actually not reading, but I've seen an art news clip this morning about doctors and the words that they use, and how that actually, the way that they speak to patients actually is bad for patients. So that was a great study that was done. I kind of think everybody knows the importance of bedside manners and doctors that have poor bedside manners. So that's part of what an industrial and organizational psychologist would look at. So, you ever going into a convenience store and you stand in front the counter and you put your items there, and it's like the clerk doesn't even like acknowledge you, like just takes it, maybe is distracted, maybe on a cell phone, and just like rings everything up, gives you a total and a monotone voice. So that's burnout. And depersonalization is a huge part of worker burnout. So industrial organizational psychologists would look at things like that, like how we can burn out and people don't become people to us anymore. We lose our humanity. It's just a depersonalization. You're just another number. You're just another customer. You're just another inconvenience. So we see this in so many high stress jobs where we lose the sight that that person that we're serving or that we're interacting with is another human being. So depersonalization is a huge part of that. Uh, Sometimes a worker will feel this sense of diminished personal accomplishment. So these are different things that you want to look at. Uh, so one of the things that you're going to look at like labor laws, statistics that talk about the gender pay gap. Like we know that men who do the same job historically get paid more than women who do the same job. So we see that there is discrimination in that way. And the Equal Opportunity Commission is responsible for doing things like enforcing the laws that discriminate against job applicants and things like that. So that's important for you to know about what the Equal Opportunity Commission does. Another thing is uh, an industrial organizational psychologist might look at leadership roles and how leadership roles are kind of like seen in the workplace and actually like the difference between men and women in leadership. There's big differences there, as according to the studies, where we see that women tend to have this interpersonal style of leadership, and men are more task oriented in their leadership. They want to get things done, and the women want to build team and get to have this interpersonal connection as co-workers. So there's a big difference in leadership styles. That's the kind of research that these industrial organizational psychologists are doing. So that's some of the questions that you're going to have on the test when it comes to uh, organizational industrial psychology. So that's the end of this video.